that the first daughter of Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is 9 years younger than the father? Is this biologically possible? Welcome to Veracruz. I'll be looking at certain red flags and the credibility of certain Nigerians that are trying to contest for the Nigerian presidential election comes February 2023. I mean, some of these red flags are always there, but we ignore them and we still vote them into power. And at the end of the day, our expectations are crushed. And sometimes we blame it on a lot of factors. But I mean, these red flags were there, but just that we try to be blind to them. And when they begin to exhibit their attributes, most experts or most analysts are not surprised. But a lot of us are, because we pretended as if we didn't see them on time, or we are blinded, or we are carried away by what people say. So I'm going to review each of the Nigerian presidential aspirants one after the other without bias. I'm going to do this looking at their achievements, looking at their credibilities, looking at their credentials, and also looking at their personal life. And now this is going to shine a light on whether they are credible enough to be our president or not. And this will also guide us on the polling point when we want to go and vote. Now, back to the issue on ground, I want to look at the age of Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, of recent, there is a lot of rancor on the social media argument that Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is older than 69 years old. But whether yes or true, the fact is that is his age on Wikipedia as we speak. But before I continue, let me say this. Wikipedia is actually edited by voluntary editors globally. So anyone can go to Wikipedia and edit anything. And so that's to say that most information from some of the information we get from Wikipedia are likely unreliable. Okay, so I think that has been understood. But let's say this, between January 1st and January 15th, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu's age have been edited almost a dozen times. At one time, it was placed at 1932. At the other time, it was placed at 1939. At the other time, it was placed at 1942. At the other time, it was placed at 1952. And that was the one that Google protected, as administrator of Wikipedia, protected and stopped from being changed often. As this was happening to Mr. Bolaji Tinubu's age, it was also happening to Folashade Tinubu Ojo, that's the first daughter of Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At one time, Folashade's age, which was 1961, was also changed. I mean, if we go by what was in Wikipedia before now, which is 1961, and compare with 1952, it means that the father seniors the daughter by just 9 years old. By just 9 years. I mean, one could not begin to imagine the reason for this desperation. Now, consider the fact that her daughter's age was changed severally, even to a point that her daughter's, in her daughter's profile, her father become His Excellency Niron Okunu rather than Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why the desperation? What does this point to his personality? Because plus or minus, I see him as being, if I take 1942 as a middle point between 1932 and 1952, then he's 79 years old, plus 10 or minus 10. That is, it could be 89 years, it could be 69 years, but the probability of him being on 79 and above is way higher than him being on the 69 years old. Why the desperation? This desperation, what does it point to his personality? Does it show honesty? Does it show integrity? Does it show credibility? It's only an expression of desperation. Of recent, I've seen Taribo West praying desperately on social media for him to become the president of the country. And I've seen some of these footballers holding his t-shirt written Ahmed Tinubu for 2023. I mean, I've also heard a lot of gullibles argue that whether he's old or not, he has enough experience to become the president of the country. Really? Because what we do know is that as one gets old, his health status deteriorates. And of course, that's the reason these people run every day for medical checkups. And if one health status deteriorates, his physical strength deteriorates. The president of Nigeria need physical strength. As one also gets old, that is how his intelligent quotient depreciates. I mean fluid intelligence, the ability to solve novel problems. So because intelligent quotient depreciates as one gets older, I mean from 25 years old, especially if that person does not do exercise again. So it means if we decide to go for a person if we decide to vote for someone who is quite old, then we sacrifice physical strength and we sacrifice mental capacity. Because fluid intelligence is the ability to solve novel problems, new problems. The world is changing. The world is becoming very dynamic. And so whoever the president of Nigeria becomes must be someone who understands the changes. And so that his decisions and so that his solutions will be compatible with the problem, will be compatible with the 21st century. Nigerians need to be a little bit very careful in the way we decide these presidents, in the way we go to the polling unit comes February 2023. Or that else, it will be a scenario of moving from a frying pan to fire.